Look, this is audio spotlight. It is audio spotlight. All you conspiracy theorists have got to shut the fuck up. It's because you don't understand how it works. It converts everything into ultrasound, into ultrasonics, every single frequency. So if you've got an internet phone, a smartphone, and you hook it up to the audio spotlight and you've got the correct frequencies, which I happen to know, then you've got V2K. It's easy. Do you people really think that these people have got a technology that nobody else knows about, not even the governments? And do you think that your governments would do this to your own? Really? So you work for, let's say, you work in a fast food restaurant and you've got V2K. And before they caught Osama bin Laden, you think they'd be looking for someone that works in Subway? Or do you think they'd be looking for Osama bin Laden? I think they'd be looking for Osama bin Laden, wouldn't they? And they'd be able to find him. You're not targeted, you're ill. And you're ill as well as having V2K. A mental illness triggers voice to skull. So that could be down to stress, to your boyfriend, your girlfriend leaving you, losing a job, losing a loved one, memories, every single thing. And the reason why it's supposed to be called HARP is because they use weather stations 162.50 on winamp and shoutcast. So they've got their own radio station, and with winamp and shoutcast you can use your own radio station. Once you've put your smartphones with the audio spotlight, pair them together with Bluetooth, pair them with the PC, and even Bluetooth will be in ultrasonics. So you can broadcast that. And when it's broadcasted, it reaches every single mobile phone around the planet, because it's on 162.50. It reaches every single mobile phone at 1 kilohertz. And your mind, because you've got a mental illness, and because people with mental illness see in the ultraviolet spectrum, do you understand that? They see in the ultraviolet spectrum closer to red, the red spectrum, because when you were younger, you used to see things brighter. So you remember. That's where your memories come from. Store them in your subconscious. So regardless of that, you see further into the ultraviolet spectrum. You think about colours more, which means you start to project your own thoughts. And speaking of projecting your own thoughts, you can project, everyone projects their own thoughts. How do you think you learn the alphabet? What's the difference between me and you? Nothing. How do you know what you're looking at? You know you're looking at a human. You know that I need a shave. You know that I'm shouting a bit. But that's hearing. But you know what you're looking at, and that's because you've learnt the alphabet, and you project the alphabet to the point of sight. That's where you project it when you're thinking. It is audio spotlight. You use winamp and shoutcast, which is a plugin for winamp, which enables you to broadcast your own radio station on winamp. On winamp, you can download weather stations from across the world. Using one is the same as using the lot. It's 162.50. You sync that to your phone. So in other words, you make your radio station, then you sync it to your smartphone, so your smartphone will be tuned into 162.50. On the internal radio on your mobile phone, turn it to 87.50 MHz, which is the beginning of it. Then on your second smartphone, put it at 108, which gives you a difference of, how many? 12.5. So it rises up for when you put it up onto the television to 121. I know it's no good shouting, but you really need to understand. It's audio spotlight. You're not supposed to plug it into a phone. No one's ever done that before. So that's the whole point. It's got 800 MHz. It's got gigahertz. It's got free to air. It's got Bluetooth. Some have got infrared. And that's another thing. The reason why some of us see things is because when the 1 kilohertz is broadcast, when your remote control is on standby, it still flashes. You can't see it. It's invisible. Still gives out a signal. So when the signal reaches 1000 Hz on your television, that's 1 kilohertz, and that's where they project it's like infravision, and that's why it's everywhere. That's why it's everywhere in your home, and it's outside because it's 162.50 MHz weather stations. So you must understand. You must. These people are bad people, and you know that they are. But all these people, there's paranoid people, there's people interested in the subject, then there's victims, and then there's the perpetrators. Paranoid people could become V2K victims if they begin to project the thoughts to the point of hearing voices. What's the difference between V2K and a mental illness? No one knows. And what's the most foolproof way of murdering someone? That's murder someone who's already got a mental illness, because you tune in. That's what you do into the red spectrum of the ultraviolet spectrum, because it's a primary colour. It spells danger. Red spells danger and love and everything else. So when you're projecting words, you project them words, danger or love or whatever else, or wrong, red or stop. All these things, and that's what triggers. That's the triggers they use: stop, danger, or anything to do with primary colours, red, green, and blue. And I'm shouting, and you probably won't get much of this, but it's audio spotlight. It's plugged into 2 phones. One's at 87.50, one's at 108. Then you transfer the phone data to the PC, or the PC to the phone, and then you hook it up to a television. And then you've got 666 MHz minus 121 MHz. Not 121, 44. It's 4. I've written it down. It's 445 or something like that. But I've had enough. I've really had enough. But you just need to understand that. I keep saying it. It's audio spotlight. Do you think they'd let paedophiles work for the government, or rapists to rape you and talk about kids? Come on. Please, just someone, just think about it. They don't do that. They don't. So why some of you think it is beyond me. HARP is because it's 162.50 and they broadcast on weather stations. That's why it's HARP. That's why people think it's HARP. So please, just stop thinking like that. If you're paranoid, you're paranoid. Just try and get better, use medication. But a V2K sufferer hears voices. Hears voices. You hear them 24/7 all around you, everywhere you go. That's a V2K victim. And then you've got all these other people who are just paranoid, and they make the voice to skull broadcasters look good. That's what they do. They might not mean to. I'm not saying that they mean to, but they just make them look good. And conspiracy theorists, all these people who go on about government, they just make these voice to skull broadcasters seem untouchable. If you do the mathematics, and you've got the really, really sickest bastards on planet Earth that have figured it out, it's not going to be a government, is it? Because they'd use nuclear weapons if they wanted to get rid of everyone. And can't you target someone through the mobile phone anyway? PC, audio spotlight, 2 smartphones and a television. That is all it takes.